Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News First at 4 starts now.
A middle-of-the-night break-in. A homeowner opens fire, and now one teen is dead, another in the hospital, and police are searching right now for 5 others.
We don't want any further issues, any violence. We want to resolve this peacefully.
Just within the past few hours, police have given us some new information on what happened around 1 a.m. in White Lake Township. Police say several teens were breaking into a garage when the homeowner spotted them and shot at them. This happened at a home over on Manden Road between Cedar Island Lake and Manden Lake. Lauren Kostick live for us First at 4. Lauren, still a lot of questions here, including whether the homeowner will face charges.
Karen, yeah, that is the big question tonight, and police tell us they have sent the information to the prosecutor's office to review, so it is now up to them. But I also want to show you where this happened. So this is the garage in question. You see the black car back there? That is the detached garage police say those teens were breaking into early this morning. And we are told the homeowner was first alerted by his security cameras, and there are a lot of them on this home. And when he went outside, he caught them in the act. That's when he started shooting at them, police say, causing them to run throughout the neighborhood. Shortly after the shooting, police were alerted of 2 17-year-olds that were shot. One was found dead in Commerce Township on Halfpenny Court near Huron Valley Hospital, and the other was found at the hospital. Here's what the lieutenant had to say.
You do have the right to protect your life, and I just hope that it doesn't come to that. Obviously, we want to be a safe community. We ask that people stay safe. Obviously, as soon as you realize something's going on, the faster we know, the faster we can get there.
So again, to sum this up, we know that one teen is dead. Another is in the hospital tonight with gunshot wounds. We also know police told us 2 suspects have been arrested. They are still searching for the others. As far as charges, that is now up to the prosecutor's office. Karen, back to you.
So Lauren, what about this community? Are they seeing this more often? Do we know perhaps what the teens were after?
Yeah, that's the other big question tonight. What is in this garage? Now, neighbors have told us they have seen at least 3 different break-ins at this garage in the last year and a half. As far as what's inside it, we did ask police that, and they would not specify, but some neighbors have mentioned dirt bikes. It's really just not clear yet. Karen?
Lots more to investigate on this one. All right, Lauren, we appreciate it. Let's move to Detroit's east side, where neighbors are asking a lot of questions this hour about a shooting involving Warren police. It ended with a man dead following a chase and a shootout with officers. Jay Scott Smith live on the east side with what we know right now. Jay?
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. And what Karen said is correct. This actually started as a domestic dispute in Warren. It ended on this street corner that's just over my shoulder here on the east side of Detroit, and it's also led to a lot of questions that need to be answered. Now, to fully follow up here on what exactly happened, this whole thing started just before 3 a.m. when Warren police officers responded to a home on the 13,000 block of Prospect Avenue around 2:50 a.m. Now, that's regarding a reported domestic disturbance. The caller said that her boyfriend had beaten and strangled her before trying to set the house on fire. The man was identified by family and friends as 36-year-old Rakim Wright. He drove off before police arrived. Warren police tracked him into Detroit at 6 Mile and Van Dyke, and when the cops arrived in that area, they found him in his car, and that set off a police chase. Now, Warren police said that Wright fired several shots at officers from his car before hopping out near his mother's home on Cashel and Montaloo. The police claim that he was shooting at officers before he was found dead in his mother's backyard. We've gotten video from a man who lives across the street, one of Wright's closest friends, that shows the aftermath of the incident, and we do warn you that the video is difficult to watch.
They shot your baby in the backyard.
I've seen them for no reason. Y'all open fire in the middle of a neighborhood, nobody got no weapons on them.
Oh. Oh my goodness.
Just kill
Oh,
kill my
no! No!
Now, We did reach out to the Detroit Police Department to find out if they knew that Warren police were going to be chasing the man into the city and pursuing him. We have yet to hear back from them. And coming up at 5 o'clock, we'll have more on this video and more information from people here in the neighborhood who did speak to us about what they saw this morning regarding this incident. We're live on Detroit's East Side. I'm Jay Scott Smith for Local 4.
Yeah, a lot of questions on this one. All right, thanks, Jay. Okay, it is the second day of a 3-day strike by nurses and other hospital workers over at McLaren-Macomb. Still, no sign of a deal on a new contract. The group walked off the job Monday, claiming unfair labor practices. The union says they are fighting for fair wages and full staffing. The strike involves around 700 workers, including nurses and medical and lab technicians. McLaren says their offer includes a wage increase and what they've termed a market-leading compensation package. The picketing is expected to continue through tomorrow. McLaren says the nurses won't be allowed to return to work until Sunday morning because replacement nurses were guaranteed 5 days' pay. So, in a new statement today, McLaren Health says, we remain hopeful that once all facts are understood, we can bring our team back together under a contract that is both fair and forward-looking. For patients, the message remains simple. We are open, operational, and safe. Search and rescue teams from around the United States and Mexico are in Texas right now as the flood-related death toll reaches 109. Camp Mystic, a Christian summer camp for girls, has been hit the hardest, with 27 campers and staff members losing their lives. President Trump is scheduled to visit the disaster site on Friday, and improved weather conditions with less rain are expected to support some of those rescue efforts. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says FEMA's response is streamlined to assist flood victims. One flood survivor got emotional when talking about what he and others there have been through.
We've lost over 100 of our citizens and our families and friends and visitors, and that's not acceptable. But I do want to say that, if I might, that we're a small community, and everybody I've talked to, we're so grateful. We're humbled from, all the people that have showed up from Louisiana and Midland, Odessa, Plano, to search and to bring equipment, and the corporations around here, HEB and Lowe's and Walmart, they have stepped up in such a big way to support all the volunteers, and I'm humbled, and I'm very grateful for them. Thank you.
Now, some of that outside help arriving from south of the border, a 13-member team from Mexico conducting search and rescue efforts. They're made up of first responders from the Mexican state of Coahuila, as well as the nonprofit Fundación 911. U.S. Ambassador to Mexico has publicly thanked them for their help. Obviously, when we're talking about rescue efforts, we talked yesterday, there was that chance of rain, Ron, that was going to really impede that. That has moved on, so at least there's a clear day, but there's really never anything really good in reporting any of this. Unfortunately, the rain has stopped.
That's right. The water is receding at this point, and it was starting to recede even yesterday when it got more rainfall yesterday. Thankfully, things are looking quieter in central Texas, but there's other parts of Texas getting the rainfall. Now, Austin is right here. The rain is to the southeast of Austin, impacting places like Victoria and Houston. The rainfall really was heavy just to the west and north of Austin. So thankfully, you see right here on radar that it is drying out, but that rainfall is still causing some issues. All the flooding that happened over the past few days, the flooding that was seen on Independence Day, well, it's going to take a while for that to recede. So we still have some elevated rivers that are above their banks at this point. So those warnings will continue. And the reason is because of all this rainfall. If you look at the scale right here, some places got in excess of 20 inches in central Texas. A lot of rainfall in a very short amount of time. And because of the rain showers that were in the area yesterday, and even a few that were impacting places in Texas today, there was still that risk of flash flooding just because the ground is saturated. So we're going to talk about the weather that we have right here in Metro Detroit, and it does include the chance of thunderstorms for us tomorrow. Karen?
Live look at Detroit Metro Airport, where the next time you go through the TSA checkpoint, you might not have to take off your shoes. Memo went out to TSA officers last week saying a new policy will allow passengers to keep their shoes on during security screenings. Those who trigger an alarm will be required to take their shoes off for extra screening. The memo says this change will start Sunday at most airports across the country, with the goal of rolling out the new policy to all airports in the U.S. shortly. By the way, Detroit is not in that first wave. TSA began requiring passengers to take their shoes off back in 2006 when Richard Reed tried detonating an explosive in his shoes while on a flight from Paris to Miami. Some new inspection documents are uncovered after a huge industrial fire in Detroit last week. This is just part of an ongoing investigation I'm working on that will air tonight at 6. You saw the fire, the smoke that filled the air, and then we started asking questions about this industrial fire that happened last week. I was able to uncover this. The month before the fire, inspectors found containment areas and sumps containing excessive industrial byproduct, some to the point of being completely full, even overflowing.
They can't really get a handle on when there's going to be some small explosions because it gets into pockets of oil and other materials.
That's not all we uncovered. Drums stored outdoors, exposed to weather. What's going on? We are talking to the company and have the full investigation tonight at 6.